Millions across the country are hitting the stores. The National Retail Federation estimates that 116 million potential shoppers today, another 75 million expected online on Monday. Joining me now, shopping and retail expert at BlackFriday.com, Sarah Hollenbeck. Sarah, what to watch today and this weekend?
Yeah, you should definitely be keeping an eye on top retailers like Amazon, Walmart, and Target. Amazon, for instance, is offering really great discounts on their own in-house lines, so both their smart home products and their fashion lines. They're also offering 40% off some of the hottest toys of the year. If you're looking for TVs, Target and Walmart are definitely going to be your top pick. They're offering great discounts on both the new HDR and 4K devices.
There's a story interesting story in the Wall Street Journal, Sarah, this morning, that the downfall of Sears and Toys R Us actually could help other big-name retailers as people, they have to find some place to shop for toys. They have to find some place to shop for baby gear. They have to find some place. Again, Best Buy is actually adding appliances with Sears in such trouble.
Yeah, with the demise of some of these other retailers, the other retailers are definitely picking up the slack and kind of taking up that customer base. We saw that early on this November. Some retailers released toy books and different items that maybe Toys R Us and other retailers were providing throughout the holiday season in the past couple of years. So they're definitely filling in that gap and taking in that customer base.
So 78% of Americans are expected to buy something either today or Cyber Monday. 60% of those sales will be done online, and close to 80% will spend either the same or maybe even a little bit more this year. What does that say to you about the health of the American consumer?
I think the American consumers have a great opportunity both on Black Friday and Cyber Monday to take advantage of these great sales. There's definitely a huge uptick in shoppers this year because the economy is doing so well, and retailers are really responding to that by offering some of the best deals we've seen in recent years.
Sarah, what categories might we see in this holiday season that might surprise to the upside? Like what categories, could there be more interest in than usual?
I think gaming is definitely a pretty big category this year. We've seen a lot of really great bundles at places like GameStop, Walmart, and Target. For instance, the Nintendo Switch bundle with the Mario Kart has sold out at various stores across the nation, and it's definitely one of the top deals of the year.
Hi, Sarah. It's Erin Elmore. Good morning. Our reporter here at Fox Business, Hillary Vaughn, said she's seeing a lot of millennials hitting the stores, which is a little bit surprising. We think they're always into technology and doing that online shopping. Why do you think that is? Millennials are out there hitting the stores.
Well, I think there's something to be said about seeing the product that you want in person and that excitement of being in store. And consumers can shop online throughout the year, but that in-store shopping experience with everyone getting really excited about the holiday season only happens once a year. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot more people come out in store over the holiday season.
Can you read into some of the deals that these companies are offering, some of the promotions as a sign of desperation, that they're worried? And what does that say about their, Mike Block can answer this, but their profit margins? But again, how do the promotions this year compare to years past?
We're seeing a lot bigger promotions this year to kind of draw in those consumers that maybe weren't shopping in years past. And because a lot of consumers are wanting to shop online, you're seeing a lot of those Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals being replicated online as well as in store.
Again, any particular categories where you're seeing more promotional activity than others?
I think tech is definitely one of the biggest categories of the season. You're seeing a lot of really great deals on smart home products, TVs, laptops, tablets, things like that. Consumers definitely need to do their research before they pick up these items during the holiday season so they don't fall for doorbuster prices that aren't necessarily worth it. They need to check at reputable tech sites like PC Mag to do their research and see what brands are really worth the money this season.
Because the sales, like at a lot of the apparel retailers, a lot of the clothing companies broke in-store and online. The major department stores, online retailers beginning this week, Sarah, and I've noticed that there's not a lot of merchandise that's on sale and the discounts aren't that deep. So it looks like at least that these retailers might have managed their inventory better, but I don't know if that's just anecdotal or not.
Well, the clothing deals usually don't start until Cyber Monday. We see site-wide discounts at various retailers like Target, Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic, places like that. they're going to offer anywhere from 15 to 50% off. So if you are wanting to shop for clothing, you're definitely better off waiting until Cyber Monday.
Well, Mike Black, what about before we go, what about the margin pressure? Because it was the Target earnings and it was Kohl's earlier in the week where Target warned about higher input costs and warned about higher wage pressures. And that seemed to be one of the reasons that stock, I just want to point out, Target is down 13% this week, 17% in the month of
10% in one day.
Right. And 8 for the month of November, 17%.
Here's what I'll say about Target and Kohl's. Both stocks had nice runs because earlier this year we were warned about the wage pressures and the shipping pressures and things like that. However, both of these companies and the macro data always showed, and the Beige Book showed, that these companies were going to be able to raise prices, and that was the evidence we got. Sure enough, they were able to do that, preserve their margins. What happened this week was both of these companies came out and they both warned of these again, and the market took it as panic, and they sold the stocks. What remains to be seen is whether they can keep getting price. We're obviously in the holiday season now. Sarah's been talking about more promotions. There's two things we're not considering here. Number one, in Kohl's earnings report, they are investing money into the stores. They are investing in higher wages, and that's how they look at it. Is that going to help them in the long run? The bulls would say yes. The second thing is, we have companies like Sears going into bankruptcy. We have others like Bon-Ton going in. Historically, we've seen, say, years ago, the demise of Mervyn's really helping Kohl's.
How about J.C.Penney?
And J.C.Penney, that's the third one. Thank you. Those are the big ones that have fallen. That's going to help companies like this, so investors need to keep that in mind. Will the demise of these other stores, you mentioned the story about Toys R Us and Sears, will that help these other companies? The bulls are going to tell you, yes, it will.
And the Best Buy has said that, and Macy's has said that in their recent earnings reports. The closing of competitors is one reason for the lift in their recent quarterly sales. So there you go.
And we could say they're talking about it, but then again, these sell-offs are maybe giving us an opportunity to own these stocks longer term.
There you go. Sarah Hollenbeck, thank you so much. Thank you for being here this Black Friday.